And the target given to the federal government by Siemens that we should have 11,000 megawatts by 2023. Would you shed a little more light on that? I mean, how possible is that? What exactly is the area of transaction? Is this in generation or is this in distribution?
No. This is in distribution, taking power to homes and the factories. This is the big problem we face in the country today. We have grown capacity to generate power. In that speech, the president said capacity stood at 13,000 megawatts. But all of that power, available as it is, cannot be taken to my house, to your house, and to the factories that need it. Because the infrastructure for what they call what do they call it? Not generation.
Transmission?
Transmission, sub-transmission, and distribution is simply short. To the point that, at some point, we're able to deliver only 4,000 megawatts to the users. The government came in supporting, the discourse and all of that with the huge amount of money. And at the peak of this effort, we were just able to do about 5,222 megawatts. So it's an irony that in a country starving of power, and with a lot of interest in generation that is being, solar, hydro, and the thermal power, investors from all over the world come and say they want to put money to do, but power is being generated and is not being taken. So this agreement is supposed to address that issue.
We're saying here that it says to achieve 7,000 megawatts of reliable power supply by 2021 and 11,000 megawatts by 2023 in 2 phases. Now, they're hoping that they will fix the transmission and distribution systems, as you rightly pointed out, and that we should have overall grid capacity to 25,000 megawatts. Are we being overly ambitious?
No, not being ambitious. I would have thought your question would have said that it is, isn't this too tepid, rather slow? But the thing is that
2021 is only 2 years away.
Yeah, but so we are going to 7,000, from now. You have to get the finance. You know that the discourse themselves are not going to put down this money, and my expectation is that the German government would support the Nigerian government. Angela Merkel, when she came, she did offer this. Of course, the Nigerian federal government will have to lead, the financing of this. And then perhaps then the users, the discourse. So first of all, you have to put together the finance. And then some of the maybe infrastructure that will be needed, they are not matters on the shelves. They need time for manufacture and all of that. So my sense is that the federal government is really careful and trying to do what is realistic by giving such a target of 7,000 by 2021, which in my view appears to be achievable and realistic as a target.
For a number of people, when they hear Siemens, they still cannot get past the scandal that came out the last time Siemens was here. I don't know if they left, but there was that scandal. Have we walked through that, and how are we ensuring that whatever happens this time around is transparent and is devoid of any scandalous relationship with the company?
Yeah, incidentally, as if the president had anticipated this from others and yourself, he did say after signing the agreement that this engagement is going to be on the basis of government to government. There will be no intermediaries, meaning there will be no commission agents. So I guess this clearly rules out any chances of personal benefits going to anyone. So yes, that has been anticipated, and it's a government-to-government undertaking.
Well, now we have signed, the president has signed the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, and right now the president has also given an approval to establish a National Action Committee to implement this. What exactly is the mandate of this committee that has been set up?
It's supposed to bring together all of the relevant ministries and the stakeholders, meaning businesses and the civil society as well, because everyone has a stake as a citizen of Nigeria in this. And when we go in, we don't want anybody to look back and say, well, we have been left out or there are any regrets over this thing. So they are going to formulate step by step, mechanisms for Nigeria. First of all, the national, the country negotiation with the Continental Free Trade Area authorities. When we do our own agreement and agree, when we have our own discussions and we agree on all of the details, they call them annexures and all of that, then we go to the next step, phase 1, phase 2, before we finally say we have an agreement.
Are you going to take it? It has to be ratified by the National Assembly, doesn't it?
Exactly. And the statement we gave yesterday also clearly indicated engagement will start with National Assembly immediately, because in doing this, you are going to have some laws have to be updated. New laws will have, more than any other thing, you have to domesticate the agreement itself. And that is when it becomes law in our country. It's going to take some time. But the thing that the Nigerian government is doing, which many other African countries are not doing, is the thoroughness with which you are doing. We're being methodical and very, very careful in not opening our own country to dumping by smart African countries who may open their countries to foreign goods, goods from areas outside our continent. And then they bring them into our own in order to kill local industry and kill our jobs in the name of free trade. It's very clear that our government is insisting and will insist when it comes to discussing the details of this agreement, that goods we are opening our borders to will be made in Africa goods, or where there is a substantial value addition by Africa, whether manpower or whatever.
But let me get this straight. We have blocked all loopholes to ensure that the goods that will come into Nigeria will be goods largely made in Africa.
That's what we'll insist upon. Made in Africa goods.
That's what we insist upon. I'm asking if we blocked loopholes to ensure. Do we have a system in place to ensure that that's what happens?
We are going into negotiation. We have signed an agreement. The signature on the agreement does not mean that we are open and they can start coming. We have to do individual countries will have to sit down and negotiate their own terms. And beyond that, and then we take the entire thing and domesticate and start using. Can I also add that also we are members of ECOWAS, and we have our own preferential trade agreements within ECOWAS region, which have been working for all of our countries. We're not going to throw that out. So we're going to ensure that in whatever deal we reach with the continent-wide organization, ECOWAS is not destroyed, and that it continues to serve our own, our own interests.
Well, we have to thank you very much for coming on Sunrise Daily this morning. Garba Shehu is the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity.